I watched the entirety of ReZero's third season. As a fan myself, I was expecting quite a lot, especially of how high the stakes were set in its trailer. But instead, I kept noticing the same core issues, and quite a few of them in fact, and surprisingly enough, nobody else is talking about them. From big inconsistencies to full-blown plot holes, I have rounded up the 4 largest problems with ReZero's third season, all depicted with cute little animations made by yours truly. So let's start with the first of many problems with ReZero's third installment. Typically speaking, Amelia isn't shown to be the most intellectual character for sure, but doesn't take that much brain power to not keep what is important information a secret among the people she cares about, especially if said information would have a lot of consequences. You know, like information regarding the Witch Coat's motivations, their end goals, their identities, and their abilities. All information that she manages to get as a byproduct of undergoing Echidna's trials. And to make it even more damning, the information is on the Witch Coat's 2 most important assets, the Archbishop of Crete, Regulus Corneus, and the Witch of Vanity, Pandora. But a kid knew! That was over 100 years ago! Amelia was a child! And you're right, she was a child, but I'm not talking about that Amelia. I'm talking about this one, standing right here, next to Echidna. She has no excuse to forget any of this. Like hell, Echidna was even pointing out and questioning the nature of their abilities. But upon completing this entire trial, she walks out and says nothing to anybody whatsoever. Even if it wasn't a top priority at the time, she could have just brought it up to Roswell, Subaru, or anybody after the fact. And well, she had an entire year where no Witch Coat bullshittery was occurring. She couldn't have asked for a better opportunity to just tell everybody, oh whatever, it's fine. At least she knows, right? Let's just move on. Arc 5.
心から安心したよ。
あなたは。
What? Amelia, what do you mean you remember him? So you're thinking, hey, that was a year ago. How do you expect anyone to remember anything about someone a year ago? Well, consider this. We're talking about someone who is directly tied to the reason why Amelia's entire past life got ripped apart. Even Regulus, of all people, managed to remember who she was at the end of the season. And keep in mind, he didn't have any of the trauma, the refresher trial, or any reason to study up on Amelia. He just randomly recalled this little girl he barely even saw over a century later. So either Regulus likes them young, or he's secretly eyeing a Koji. And trust me, we'll get to that later in the video. You could argue that maybe the trial just erases your memory afterwards, and while you're doing the writing for the writers here, that's just simply not true. Later in the season, Amelia has a flashback to the trial. Specifically, we're shown a fight between Pandora and Amelia's groups, which, you know, might just have minor implications why she chooses to keep this self-proclaimed Witch of Vanity a secret, but hey, that's no big deal. It's just a potential final villain of ReZero being completely hidden from Subaru or literally anybody. So they've established that, yeah, it does kind of matter that Amelia remembers what happens within the trial, meaning that Thoppit must have just deliberately chosen for her not to, which is fine, he's the writer of the story after all. But here's the thing, not only would that knowledge have made for some fantastic drama and deeper characterization for both Amelia and Regulus, it would have given Amelia a deeper personal reason to despise Regulus as a character, and honestly, that would have done wonders in making him feel like a actual genuine villain instead of just the guy that fails to cuck Subaru. Arc 5 is predicted to be quite the disaster, with 4 of the Witch Coats and Archbishops, an entire sea-wide flood, and all the exits blocked off. The stakes have never been higher. Yet for some very inexplicable reason, this all comes off feeling rather easy. It's as if this season in particular is missing something very integral to ReZero as a franchise, something that Thoppit has capitalized off of in the past 4 arcs, something that no other series has. Subaru's Return by Death ability. It's a tool that gives Thoppit the ability to depict the world of ReZero in a cold, yet realistic fashion. Between arcs 1, 2, 3, and 4, the mortality rate per episode is 34%. If we ignore arc 4 though, it becomes 44%. If you look at Arc 5 in comparison though, it drops down to 21% per episode, giving us a grand total of 3 deaths across the 16 episode runtime, all of which are within the first 2 episodes. Do you know what that entails, dear viewer? That means he beats Regulus within a singular life without any prior information or any leg up whatsoever. To make this even more damning, allow me to remind you.
Now, the author has stated that a battle like this would be an easy dub for Regulus due to his insanely overpowered authority.
This is absurdly silly for a series which values realistic plot progression, which, ReZero obviously does. Going forward, I'd like to specifically narrow into his fight against Regulus in episodes 59 to 62. Specifically, I would like to talk about how f***ing stupid Regulus's characterization is in this fight. He does absolutely f***ing nothing. Subaru and Amelia are just taking a on his face, and he is completely ignoring him like a fucking buffoon. This is entirely different to the Regulus that we saw in the trial, where he completely vaporized Pandora when she just told him to stop a few times. Wait a second. Stop the footage. Go back a bit. Alright, how the hell is he doing this? So far in Arc 5, Regulus' offensive ability seems to be contained to inducing his authority into objects and then using that to accelerate them after he induces an initial velocity via a slash in the air or a kick on the ground. This has been used in fun ways like launching unbreakable air slashes and water bullets. It's a good use of an apparently simple ability. However, this scene kind of establishes horrific consequences on the integrity of Arc 5. It's because it shows that a capacity to throw objects without his authority, then inducing it into them without any physical contact. The very fact he can do this makes him much more dangerous because his attacks won't immediately trigger, and depending on how much delay he can induce, he can potentially just set up what would effectively be a B. He can choose the direction where his authority propels an object without it actually needing initial velocity to guide it. This makes Regulus infinitely harder to read because his attacks could just spontaneously go wherever the hell he wants within a straight line, of course. But God, that makes Subaru's life a living nightmare. He could just do anything and it would immediately just home in onto him. C. Without any physical contact, he can stop these attacks midair and then redirect them again and again and again. In this case, completely dicing Pandora into a fine velvet mist. I really don't need to say a single word on why this completely makes him obscenely powerful. Remember, this isn't a film theory, this is an anime theory. This is an established scene that Tappe wrote and has been animated and you can watch right now. But if we do go into the theoretical route, if we combine all three of these, he would be capable of an equivalent feat to Rimuru Tempest's Megiddo, which if you do not remember, or if you haven't seen Tensura, it's this right here.
Megiddo!
The only difference is that he has to have like a physical line of sight to them to snipe their head off. But at the end of the day, this is speculative thinking. And I can't legitimately say that Regulus could do this, even though if he theoretically could. But something he most definitely use against Subaru and crew is his insta-broken stupid kill, Super Pandora Shredder 2000. The only thing stopping Regulus from being the unstoppable force that he realistically should be is Tappe writing him to be a complete and utter joke. Throughout the events of Arc 5, Regulus not only is given the power to completely obliterate Subaru at literally any moment, but also the reason to. And yet he just doesn't do anything because it's not just Tappe clowning on him like this, it's the entire cast. The one key characteristic that we've established with Regulus is that he is an egotistical maniac with the patience of a toddler and the temperance of Tanya the Evil. If someone so lightly as talks over him, he just blows their hand off. If his superior tells him to just chill out, he vaporizes them into a fine mist out of rage.
僕にふざけた口を聞くからこうなる。
Well, clearly not, because all he does in Arc 5 is get incredibly mad and completely forget about it moments later, only get mad again before forgetting about it at that time as well, accomplishing a whole lot of f***ing nothing and making ReZero's world building feel like an absolute joke. Because why would anyone in the cast take a threat from the strongest in Archbishop in any way seriously when they depict him as nothing more than a gag character in his fight with Subaru? Speaking of that, every single scene of Subaru and Regulus has way shitter writing than the likes of CW Flash. They just talk, and Regulus doesn't do jack shit. Like, I understand Regulus's point is talking, but there is more to talking because he has abilities. And also, how does Subaru fucking dodge all of his shit. Regulus is given every single conceivable possibility and opportunity to like completely decimate Subaru. His only shield is in outer space. What are you waiting for? Just get like a mini evil monologue like you always do and just like slash their hand off, slash something off, do anything to them. The most devastating thing you've done to Subaru up until this point is slash his leg off in the first scene that you see him for really a bittersweet little tiny baby reason. But when he insults you and lets you your entire character to your face, you look at there like, huh, shit, you pissed me off, you little bitch. I'm not gonna do anything though, because I'm a complete dumbass. I'm gonna follow you like, I don't know, Slender Man. Subaru should have died at least a dozen times throughout this when you look at it with any level of sense, and yet he just doesn't. With that being said though, I can honestly see a world where Subaru does indeed defeat Regulus without just complete plot armor dumb shittery. However, that requires good preparation and the nerf version of Regulus, and even then, realistically, he should die maybe 1 or 2 times. What if we take the unnerfed version of Regulus throughout the entire story? Then we're dealing with a Regulus that could kill Subaru, in my opinion, at least a dozen times before Subaru can actually win. It's just obscenely powerful what he can do, and I want to put that in perspective, because story writing wise, you might think 12 times in a single arc from one character seems a little excessive new, and that you're right, it is excessive, but that's because we shouldn't have him here in the first place. You could A, have Regulus simply be portrayed as he should, as an immensely strong powerhouse of a villain, have him scary, have him be like Homelander, make him intimidating. He has the personality to be intimidating, not a f***ing clown. B, just don't have him in the arc at all. Maybe a cameo for later, but genuinely, you just don't need him here. He's like Pandora levels of strength, maybe a little less, but genuinely, why is he here? Who thought of, stop it, please. Or C, just don't have him in the series. Just, I don't know, have him like Hector disappear off to the background. Like, why even bother if you're not gonna deal with him properly? Honestly, this is what makes Regulus' treatment in Arc 5 so embarrassing. Doppet systematically nerfs him into the ground to the point where even his death feels undeserved. The Regulus we see in Arc 5 is a shell of a villain, stripped of his power, his integrity, and worst of all, his narrative weight. The cast doesn't even take him seriously at this point, and at the end of it, he just dies in a pit, alone, screaming his first line over and over. Alone, forgotten, and pathetic.